KJ Jefferson as a transfer,
Yeah.
I mean, has to be the biggest news. I don't think that's something that just affects UCF per se, but all of the contests that are upcoming, UCF facing Florida, Shedeur Sanders and company coming here to Orlando, Arizona coming to town, all that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just make this UCF centric, but you mentioned two teams, actually. You mentioned in passing to Arizona looking good. First of all, kind of tell the people who haven't seen that YouTube yet what it is that you see in UCF being sneaky good, and then talk to me a little bit about Arizona too. But let's start with UCF here.
We'll start with UCF. I am, and this might shock you, I like Gus Malzahn, the old Arkansas high school football coach at Shiloh Christian. That's what I know him from. And he goes to Arkansas as the OC under Houston Nutt. I called that play. I mean, there's the lore. Look, I brought my Arkansas cup today. I did. Because the lore of one Gus Malzahn is so big in the state of Arkansas. And that's the program that wanted to hire him for so long. Then he goes to Auburn, wins a national championship as the OC. As we all know, he is the quasi head coach of that program. It was not Gene Chizik. Gene proved that and was eventually fired. Then he goes back to Auburn, and he was Nick Saban's kryptonite. He was the one guy that could trip up Nick Saban. And now at UCF, what he has needed is consistency, not from the university, but from the environment around UCF. What conference are we in? What players do we have? How do we settle into the Big 12, moving up into the Power 5? And he did it so well in year one that they were the lone team to make a bowl game out of the new additions to the Big 12. Did they win the bowl game? No, we don't have to get into that. That was just an ugly, gross game. But they made it to a bowl, which was better than anybody else. They got added to the Big 12, and then they added KJ Jefferson. And I think a couple of UCF fans rolled their eyes and thought, this old Arkansas quarterback who was really good to start his career, and then by the end of his career, what are we really getting? And you know why I think that? He's a 3-star on 24/7, which I believe. This is not me trying to blow hot air up your skirt. He is one of the most dangerous quarterbacks in the Big 12 in the country. And the reason you didn't see that toward the end of his career, I watched a lot of KJ Jefferson, a Valonia, Arkansas resident myself growing up. I watched a lot of KJ Jefferson, and he didn't want to be there. That program at Arkansas is so lackluster. They fired their OC in the middle of the season. And you watch KJ and think, does he even want to play right now? But he could never. The offense was not conducive with his style of play, and it was easy to shut down when every other player on the field was doing it. That being said, KJ Jefferson was not being recruited by Dartmouth. He is not a student of the game. He is a pure, spectacular athlete. That what he brings to Auburn, what he brings to UCF with old Auburn coach Gus Malzahn is something that I don't know if Big 12 defenses are necessarily ready for. I watched him live in that Kansas bowl game. When they played Kansas in the Liberty Bowl, if you're not excited about KJ Jefferson, pull up those highlights. He's a one-man football team. He just creates. And when he has a team and an organization and a program and a coach behind him that suits his game, he's going to go nuts.
And no, listen, you make a lot of great points. And I think the biggest knock that I find credible of Gus Malzahn is he spends too much time trying to use quarterbacks as if they were Cam Newton.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, and I asked Coach about it at the presser I was at yesterday as we record this, and he had this to say about KJ Jefferson's physical tools.
What tools does he bring? What does he see that makes you unique compared to the other guys?
Yeah, he's an NFL quarterback. He's got all the physical tools. I mean, he's a big-time runner. There's no doubt about that. He throws a deep ball as good as anybody in the country. Really, what stands out to me is that he can extend plays. He's strong in the pocket. He escapes, and once he escapes, he has his eyes down the field, and he can make plays when things break down. And in college football, when you start playing the top teams, I mean, the quarterback's got to make plays. You got your system and all that, but he has shown time and time again against some of the best defenses, the country, all of college football, that he's played extremely well, in those moments.
And kind of follow up on that quick, Coach. Durability, you got to feel good about that with his size as well.
100%.
What tools does he bring? What does he see that makes you?
Now, keep in mind, that little quick follow-up isn't just something by a fat guy wearing a tie, me. But listen, Dylan Gabriel out due to injury. RJ Harvey. No, that's the running back, Kyle. John Rice Plumlee twice shortened on the season because he was trying to run around and do a little too much. The difference is when I look at John Rice Plumlee, I can tell there's a potential for a dual athlete to play baseball. One, he's wildly handsome. Two, he's the size of a baseball player. KJ Jefferson being in the room with him has linebacker shoulders. And listen, I'll add this. I don't mean to go clip crazy here, but this one built right into the other. I asked him about his philosophy on contact for a quarterback.
What tools does he bring? What has he seen that makes you?
Like you said, dishing out punishment. I mean, a lot of guys don't like hitting big quarterbacks or big guys, period. So I try to use that to my advantage. Try to just kind of lean on them because, I mean, they'll get tired before I get tired. So that's my philosophy, just going into it. I don't shy away from contact, but I will be smart. I mean, I won't just make dumb decisions and put my body at risk and to have me sitting out a couple games. So I do want to be smart in the hits that I do take and the hits that I do give out.
So the desire the swagger to tell me he wants to dish out punishment, and then the intelligence to say, I want to control what I'm doing. Now, that's either an overall good view of, hey, this is, I've seen what happened to you guys with John Rice. You ain't got to worry about that. Or at least the awareness, because he was in the room when I asked Coach about durability to, hey, listen, fat man in a tie, it's okay. I'm going to be smart. One of the two shows intelligence and swagger, and I liked it. So I just wanted to add those in. I think that take home your point on KJ Jefferson.
We see too many quarterbacks in college football that throw their body around. They don't use their size strategically. They think, I don't need to slide. I'll just run into said linebacker and it will somehow work out. It usually doesn't, or they're penalty hunting. For KJ Jefferson, 6'3", 250 pounds. That is a dump truck. That when that comes at you at linebacker, you're getting out of the way. He doesn't need to slide. And what's wild too is how crafty he is with his feet. I wouldn't call him fast. I would call him agile and quick. In short spaces, he can make lateral movements and he can get past you. I don't see him breaking off a run for 95 yards. But what I do see is him getting around you for 95 yards. KJ Jefferson is, again, I've watched this kid play enough that, yes, he only put up 3 points against Mississippi State, but he brought his team right there on the cusp of beating Alabama. He beat Texas. He was so good. If you could harness that in the beautiful city that is Orlando, make the kid happy. That's what it is. Today in college football, there is gratification needed for players to play at their best. That's just the way it is. You give him that, he's going to be good.
Well, and I don't know if you noticed him wearing his Kingdom polo, so the collective has done their part in it with that in mind. Also,
give the kid a bag. Give it to him.
You say it as if it's forthcoming. I think it might be past tense at this point.
Yeah. Gave the kid a bag.
But the two other things he mentioned too, Darren Hinshaw, the offensive coordinator, made a great difference in a single year with John Rice Plumlee to add touch. I think this will be a great specimen for Hinshaw to do that again. And something that I don't have here in the clips, and forgive me, I'll show my credentials for my Aaron Evans original painting there of me as an offensive lineman. You would think I would have included this quote, but he also threw props at the offensive line there at UCF. But you mean they're just a team that went from the G5 to the Power 5. How could they have an offensive line make good? Well, hey, trust me. The problem was the run defense. We mentioned that bowl game. We don't need to build into that right now. But I think all the above makes sense. And just having, he says he wants to shine as a passer, probably has NFL aspirations. You heard Malzahn call him an NFL quarterback, all that. And by the way, while Javon Baker has gone to the NFL draft, I know that was a point you made in your YouTube piece. Xavier Townsend, I think, will be a plenty talented guy to step in and be that number 2 receiver across from Kobe Hudson. So weapons are fine. I think we're good there as well.